What's going on, guys? Sean Nalawani, SeanNal.com. And in this video here, we're talking about lame, weak excuses for not working out. So this is for the people out there who want to get into better shape. They want to build muscle, lose fat, improve their overall health and fitness, but they just can't seem to really get started or stick to a solid training program over any length of time. And I've been doing fitness coaching for a lot of years now. I've talked to an endless number of different people out there in person, as well as just people who ask me online for fitness advice. And so I've pretty much heard every possible excuse in the book for why a person apparently can't get to the gym and why they can't follow a decently healthy diet. And with the exception of a small percentage of cases that are very rare, most of those excuses are just not valid when it all comes down to it. And in today's video, I'm going to offer you some perspective by outlining 5 of the most common excuses I hear and the real truth behind those excuses. If you enjoyed this video, guys, make sure to hit the subscribe button below to stay in the loop on all of my future content, and click the little bell symbol as well. That way you'll be notified whenever a new video is available so that you don't miss out on anything. So excuse number 1, probably the most common one of all, which is I don't have time to work out. Now, I understand that some people do lead very busy lives and have a lot going on, but the reality is that it really doesn't require a lot of actual gym time in the first place in order to build a great physique. People seem to have this idea that anybody who's in impressive shape must be in the gym for hours and hours doing weights and cardio 5 days a week or more, but that's really not the case, and it really doesn't need to be the case either. For most average lifters, 3 weight training workouts per week is really all you're gonna need. Intermediate and advanced trainers can use higher frequencies if they want, depending on their goals, but 3 per week is what I would for sure recommend, at least for beginners as a starting point. And those workouts, with the warm-ups included, as long as you go through it efficiently, they probably aren't going to take you any more than about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes the most. And some people can probably get it done even quicker than that. So if you really audit your week honestly, you take a look at everything piece by piece, I'm pretty sure you can make time for that if you really want to. How much time do you spend watching TV? How much time do you spend on YouTube or on social media? How much time do you spend with aimless web surfing or playing video games or whatever else? You almost certainly have time if you're being really honest with yourself. And in the rare case that 3 workouts per week truly isn't an option for you, your schedule is just totally packed all throughout the week, then the truth is that you can actually still get great results even on just 2 weight training workouts per week. I did a video on this a while back that I'll link in the description box. But as long as things are properly structured and properly executed, you absolutely can make consistent progress on just 2 sessions a week. It's usually not going to be 100% optimal in comparison to doing 3 workouts or more, but it'll still be very effective regardless. And if you want to be even more efficient time-wise, you can also use a high-intensity, low-volume approach to your workouts, which means that you're going to reduce the total number of sets that you do per workout and per muscle group, but you're going to increase the intensity by training all the way to failure on each set. If you train to failure, then you really don't need much total volume to see solid progress. You could probably do as few as 8 to 10 total sets per workout, and it might only take you about 40 to 45 minutes for each session. Now, I understand that there's also travel time to and from the gym, and for some people, the nearest gym might be far away, so that can make it harder. In that case, the other option is to just train from home. You really don't need much to get a solid workout in. A bench and a set of adjustable dumbbells on its own is going to be enough right there to train your entire body effectively, as long as you have access to enough weight. A pull-up bar is another good addition, but that's really all you need in order to keep things as simple as possible. So unless you are an extreme exception and your schedule is completely filled from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed, 7 days a week, saying that you have no time to work out is almost certainly not true, because it is possible to make solid progress with as little as 2 workouts per week for less than an hour if you really know what you're doing. And virtually anybody should be able to make time for that if they really want to. Excuse number 2 is I'm too tired to work out. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail on this one because the same reasons that I just gave on the previous excuse apply to this one as well. I can buy that your lifestyle is busy enough that maybe you're too tired to be in the gym, say 5 days a week. But again, you don't need to be in the gym 5 days a week. 2 to 3 workouts per week is all you're going to need. I get that you're tired. I'm tired. We're all tired. But you're not so tired that you physically can't do 2 to 3 workouts per week. If you feel really drained by the end of the day, like a lot of people do, and that makes it tougher to get to the gym, then you can move your workouts to the morning, or you can do them at lunch if possible. Move one of them onto the weekend when you have more free time. There's always a way to make it happen if you truly want to. And just because you feel physically tired doesn't mean that you can't use your willpower to make it happen anyway. Usually just getting off the couch is the hardest part, but once you start moving and you get into your workout, you'll realize that you aren't actually as tired as you thought, and you'll feel way better once it's all done anyway. Excuse number 3 is I have a bad back or a bad shoulder, or just insert whatever joint you want into that sentence. Now, I totally agree, injuries are a pain. I'm not saying you don't have a legit injury that is making it harder to train, but unless it's a really severe situation, there's almost always a way to still train around it and to still get in an effective workout regardless. I've had plenty of injuries over the years because I've been training for a really long time. I made a lot of mistakes in my earlier years, and I still have multiple injuries that I'm working around right now. And it really just comes down to making the proper exercise selections, eliminating things that cause you pain or discomfort, moderating your training intensity, doing proper warm-ups, and also just making active steps to actually fix the injury at its root cause. Now, I don't want people to misconstrue this advice, because if you do have a legit injury, then obviously you need to be careful. But if you really take a look at your training and you plan it out and you test and you tweak different things, you usually still can train your entire body effectively, even if you do have a particular joint that's acting up. No single exercise in the gym is absolutely mandatory, and there are plenty of options for each muscle group available. You can try different variations of the same exercise. You can replace certain exercises with something completely different. You can try using cables or machines that give you a better angle. And you can also lighten up the weight and train using a more slower, more controlled rep cadence. You can also use higher rep ranges. You could even look into something like blood flow restriction training for certain muscle groups. If you really want to make it happen, then usually there is a way. It might not be a 100% optimal training plan if you really can't push yourself or can't train certain muscles with higher intensity, but optimal and effective are two very different things, and you can still get in a highly effective workout regardless if you take the time to plan things out properly. Excuse number 4 is I have bad genetics. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that genetics don't play a role in how quickly someone can build muscle or what kind of ultimate physique they can achieve, but unless you're on the very extreme end of the bell curve in terms of genetics, pretty much anyone out there can gain muscle, lose fat, gain strength, and build an impressive overall physique. Some people can do it faster than others, no doubt, but with the right approach, with consistent effort, and with patience, you can do it too. And to sit there and say, I have bad genetics, so I'm not even gonna try, that's a really weak excuse, quite honestly. And I think a lot of people just use that as a justification for being lazy, even though they know deep down that they could still make it happen. I mean, just because you're not the most talented musician doesn't mean that you shouldn't even attempt to learn how to play the guitar, for example. Or just because you're naturally shy, that you're just gonna sit in your house all day and never go out and interact with anybody or try to improve your social skills. Or just because you're not the most athletic person, you're never gonna play sports. Yeah, you might not be the greatest at those things, but you can still become proficient if you put in the effort. Everybody's dealt different cards genetically. Everybody has different strengths and weaknesses. And by the way, if you've never even stuck to a proper workout plan over any real length of time, then you probably don't even really know just how good or bad your genetics really are in the first place. So unless you legitimately have some sort of medical condition that truly prevents you from being able to gain significant muscle mass or maintain a leaner level of body fat, that is true for some people, but it's a very small minority. Unless you're in that situation, the whole genetics card is ultimately irrelevant. You can still get into great shape if you really want to, and that's really all there is to it. And then the last excuse is, I've tried everything, but nothing works. If you had actually tried everything, then you wouldn't even be sitting here watching this video right now, because you'd already be in great shape. There is no possible way for someone to have tried everything and not gotten results, because the truth is that building muscle and losing fat is not rocket science. It's actually pretty straightforward, and it's mostly just a matter of nailing down a few key principles and then executing them consistently from week to week. So no, you didn't try everything. Either your program was not properly structured, and maybe it had a few key errors in it that were preventing you from seeing progress, or you did have a solid program in place, but you just didn't follow it properly, or you were just expecting results way too quickly and you didn't follow through for long enough. It does take time and patience to make a significant physique transformation. And just because you didn't gain 10 pounds of muscle in your first month or lose 15 pounds of fat doesn't mean your program wasn't working. You have to commit to this for the long run. And if your program truly isn't working, then it's up to you to seek out the proper guidance to find out where you're going wrong and what to fix. But as long as you are patient and persistent, you will get the results you're after, because again, this stuff ultimately is not that complicated. So if you've been struggling to get in shape and you've been justifying it to yourself with any of those 5 excuses I just gave, I hope this gave you some insight and sparked some new motivation in you to give it another go. If you do want to grab a complete step-by-step plan to eliminate all of the guesswork in terms of training, nutrition, and supplementation so that you can achieve your goal physique as efficiently as possible and know you're on the right path towards it without the need for any excuses, then you can grab my complete step-by-step body transformation blueprint by clicking here or by heading over to btblueprint.com using the link in the description box. If you enjoyed the video, guys, as always, make sure to hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe to stay up to date on future videos. You can also check out my official blog over at seannell.com for all of my latest updates. And you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram as well if you aren't already. The links for that are also below. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next video.